Here we're on the Mail web app, and when I say the Mail web app, we've clicked on the actual app launcher in Office 365, and we've simply selected Mail. And you'll always know where you are, of course, visually as you get used to these apps, but for now, if you're not sure, it'll always tell you right there where I've put a little box around the word Mail. So once you're in Mail, you're going to see that on the left-hand side, we have a folder list. Right now, we have inbox, sent items, drafts, and deleted items. Well, you're going to create folders for your own use. So right now, I've recently created a folder called Administrative Assistant Candidates because I'm interviewing for a particular position and all the resumes that I'm receiving for that position are going into that folder. So that's something that I'm actively working within, and it's made a favorite. So it appears very easily right here. So as I get a resume or an email pertaining to it, I can drag it right into that folder. So the folder views are nice. They're going to allow you to look inside of each folder, but it's also nice because you're going to see there's some learned behavior, and you'll find that working and finding and clicking on those folders is easy. We also have a people view. So the people view are those that I am communicating with. You'll see student 2 is in there. So I can actually filter for all of the emails coming from student 2. We can also create groups. Now, when you're working within groups, they're actually great. So if I create a group, let's call that sales, and there's 5 people in it. Well, that might be the sales team that I'm working with. When I create that group, I can use the group as a distribution list to email all of sales, but I can also click here and browse those groups and see all of the activity that have gone on with that group as a group function. Now here you've got your message list. Notice I've got who it's from, I've got the title, and if there's more content, I'll see it, but this tells you no previews are going to be available. Notice here I've missed a call. Now student 2, title documents needed, first line of the email, I'm attending the Global Travel Conference. So you get a nice preview of each message and some indication of what it's all about. All of these views can be modified, and they can be also modified with the Outlook local client. You can scan for just unread messages, messages that are specifically sent to me. So there is a difference between me receiving a message because they've sent it to info at my email address, or if they've sent it specifically to me, that's Sandra at. So based on that, what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to look at stuff that only has been sent to me, not as part of distribution, so I can filter to it that way. Over to the right here, we have a reading pane. We can click on a message. We'll see the preview right here. In this particular case, there's not a lot of content, none actually, for this message, but you'll see that they've accepted an event, so there really is no purpose of content. Your settings menu is always going to be at the top right. Understand that as you're in Office 365, settings are going to be focused on where you are. So an example, if I'm currently looking at the Mail web app, you'll see some of those settings are actually Mail focused, where if I was on Calendar or People, those settings might be focused on those as well. When you go to the People web app, this has taken a brand new look and feel literally within this past week. You're going to see that we can focus on many different elements. So here's people that I frequently contact with. We've got Amy and we've got Jamie. So we're seeing that based on Skype meetings, email going back and forth. It's that I've actually communicated with them in some form of collaborative fashion. So what's nice is I know that I usually am emailing probably the same 10 people on a regular basis, and they're going to be right here. And automatically there's Amy, I can send her a message. I can click on the file that I've recently worked on with Jamie. If I have created calendar appointments, this is if you're creating meetings. So I'm going to put an online meeting with Gail. As long as Gail is within my contacts and part of the Office 365 realm, we'll see who's on my calendar for today. Now, it looks like the calendar is open for the rest of the day. I'll sit back and have a cup of coffee. Boy, don't I wish that was the case. I never get to see that message. But you're going to see people. You're going to see what your calendar looks like, who you're going to look at with them. Now here, notice frequently contacted on your calendar, favorites, and ones that I need to follow up with. Your contacts is your entire address book, directory of the other people who are part of your organization with Office 365. Here are the groups that we work within. So you'll see M400 RFP is a private group, but we have that private group in a SharePoint site in some of these screenshots. So we've used a group for permissions. And of course, we can discover other groups and create other groups. So the People web app is really designed around, once again, collaboration with others. We can add people to our contact list, we could manage the current lists, and we can edit who the favorites are. So if it always is the same people, we can make sure they're always available there. You can import contacts. Now, CSV files, comma-separated values, are always going to rule, meaning they're the oldest way ever known to technology, and they're still available. So if you have a comma-separated value, a CSV file, maybe something you dumped out of a different address book or something out of Excel, you can import them directly into the People app so that you can use your address list without having to recreate it. But I did want to point out here, if you have a Gmail account, if you have an old version of Outlook or even a new version of Outlook, if you're someone who's on Yahoo or Windows Live Mail, you can import contacts just by either pointing to the file or putting in the credentials, and it'll pull them right over for you. Office 365 also has a calendar web app that is part of the Outlook Online. The calendar app allows you to create new appointments, new meetings. You can search the calendar for a particular event. If you want to focus on a particular day or a different month, notice you can do a previous and next to move back and forth between a date, or you simply click on a date. Under calendars, you've got your standard calendar. Now, you can also specify other calendars. Now, the difference between my calendars and other calendars, in this case, student 2 has shared their calendar with me. So I can click on it and see what they're up to, but there has to be an intentioned share for that to appear. Under my calendars, I have an ability to create as many calendars as I want. So it might be that under my calendars, in the case of literally my calendars, I have a calendar that I've created called House, so that in the House app, I know what's going on in my household, when my daughter has to go to cheerleading, when my son had to go to karate, whatever events that aren't my direct calendar, but I do need to make sure I know what's going on and when, I created specifically a personal calendar called House that I could use. Now, I also have another calendar that I created called Projects. And the projects are for some of the larger projects that I work on, and it's not even really directly linked to any of the live content as it should be, but because I just wanted a basic timeline that reminded me that in this particular week, I should be working on, and it's where I do some of my long-range planning. So I kind of look at the bigger projects that I have, and I do a little bit of planning, a little bit of moving things around between different projects or different tasks, and it just helps me personally. So you can create as many of these calendars as you want, and they're specifically yours. You have an ability to share them, but in this case, I don't want to share them. They're just helping me with my time. Notice at the top, we can click on any month we want. We can use our previous and our next. We can find today. If I'm so far off the calendar, it's easier just to click there. And notice you can change your display from day to work week to just the week. So one doesn't have weekends, and of course I'm in month view. If you want to share your calendar, you have an option to share it with anyone you want. And of course you can also print it. And I'm here to say it prints beautifully. Outlook web apps have a lot of different options. Now, some of these options are going to be taken care of by your administrator or maybe by the office manager in a smaller environment who's going to control the subscriptions, etc. But I do want to spend a brief little visit here to say there are some Outlook web app options to know about. So if you're not sure what license you have, you can view your subscriptions. If you want to know what kind of permissions we have to apps, or you're giving people permission to apps, we can customize Office 365 to make it work for you. We can look at security and privacy functions, and we can also look at the install status. Notice we can have 5 PCs or max 5 tablets and 5 smartphones. So it's telling me that any machine that I touch, I can actually install this software. Now here we've got the tile-based view, but notice the majority of them are right here along the navigation bar. Part of what we can also do in the Outlook options or the mail options is the ability to set up some automated things for you, meaning they're not just overall licensing. So one of them might actually be an automatic reply. If you're out on business, if you're out on vacation, and you want to make sure that people know this. So with automatic replies, it is turned off by default, but of course you can turn it on. If you want to send replies during a different time period, you also get some other options that light up. They only light up if you set replies during a particular period. You know you're going to be out of the office Monday through Wednesday, an example. Now, this is worth looking at because literally in the last month, some of these options have updated. They weren't there a couple of weeks ago. So what I like is that if I say Monday and Tuesday I'm out of the office, I can have my calendar blocked for this period so that automatically people see that I'm not available. I can automatically decline new invitations for events that happen during this period. So when someone invites me to a Tuesday morning staff meeting, it will automatically decline and say that I'm out of the office. And it will also, here's my favorite, decline and cancel my meetings during that period. As long as the meetings have been set up by using the meeting tool and you have meeting recipients and all their email addresses are in there, it will automatically decline all of those meetings and tell them that I am now currently going to be out of town. And of course, here's where you can put in your text version of the reply explaining why you're out of the office. We can send them to senders outside my organization. So only to senders in the contact list or basically to any external sender. This is the one you want to be careful of because if we say send replies to virtually anybody and that person is a spammer, they're now going to know your live email address and potentially spam you longer. Some of the other Office 365 settings that you can look at is your favorite theme. So you're looking at different colors. Personally, I don't like a lot of blues. I happen to be a green kind of person or a red kind of person. So it really is just nice to know that you can customize it to be displayed in colors that you find visually appealing. You can also choose your start page. So when you sign in, where are you going to go? It might be that when I sign in, I want to choose from tiles. It might be when I sign in, I want to go immediately to the mail app. Or maybe I'm an admin and I'm signing in on the admin account and I want to go directly to the admin page. So all of those can be set. Notifications, which ones you care about. Once again, they're making it easy to install the software, and your language and your time zone. So these are all going to be available to you as well.